When you think of the people you respect and look up to professionally, whether it's your boss, another executive in your organization, a certain customer or client, or particular colleagues and coworkers, chances are they speak with authority, make you feel important when you speak with them, respect your input, and listen to what you have to say. That's because communication skills, particularly speaking with confidence, clarity, and charisma, are the most important skills you can possess in today's workplace. They may come naturally to some people, but everyone can learn them. Hello, I'm Alan Pratt for Briefings Publishing Group. Over the next 20 minutes, you will learn the secrets professionals use to present your ideas convincingly in meetings, communicate effectively over the telephone, and project confidence in face-to-face conversations. Let's start with Part 1, presenting your ideas convincingly in meetings. Offering your ideas in any business gathering requires a combination of creativity and courage. But you can increase the odds that your ideas will be accepted by using what we call the power technique. Prepare your ideas. Orient yourself for success. Work the group. Energize your delivery and react to the group signals. How many times have you seen this type of thing happen at meetings?
So, I know this meeting is about speeding up product delivery and accounting, but shouldn't we really be thinking about the company holiday party?
Yeah, right. Like that's gonna happen.
A colleague throws out an idea that's completely off the topic or beyond the scope of the meeting, or someone tosses out sarcastic comments and then complains later when no one takes their ideas seriously. If you want people to listen to your ideas and opinions, you need to know the topics that will be discussed and prepare your ideas for the meeting. Start by reading the agenda to familiarize yourself with the topics the group will discuss. Go over any materials you receive beforehand and take other relevant information with you to the meeting. Pick one or two topics that you want to contribute to during the meeting. Choose topics that you have some expertise in or can apply some of your experience to. Reserve 10 to 15 minutes the day before the meeting to brainstorm. Write your ideas in a notebook that you will take to the meeting. Run the ideas by a trusted colleague or your boss before the meeting. Use the feedback to refine your ideas. Finally, dress up for the meeting. Looking professional will increase your credibility and persuasiveness. Once you enter the meeting, orient yourself for success. Taking a few minutes to create the best conditions for presenting your ideas will help others accept them. Use these tips. Sit in a power seat. If the table is rectangular or oval, the positions of power are at either end and immediately to the right and left of each end. If the meeting table is round, sit next to the person who will lead the meeting. If the meeting is set up like a classroom, sit near the front on either side. Before you speak, go over your notes one more time to refresh your memory. Ease into the meeting by asking a question. That way, you'll get used to hearing your own voice and find out how it feels to have the group turn its attention to you.
So the goal of this meeting is to make our processes more efficient, to get our products out faster. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah, that's right.
After you've oriented yourself, work the group. This means preparing the way for your ideas by establishing rapport with the rest of the attendees. Here's how. Listen actively. Make eye contact with those who are speaking and occasionally nod your head. Take notes and jot down questions you have. When you're not writing or reading something, keep your head up. Don't stare down at your notes or the agenda. That signals that you're bored or aren't involved in the discussion. It will damage your credibility. Keep your eyes on the other people in the meeting. Reaffirm something someone else says. When you agree with another person's idea or statement or can add supporting evidence, do it. That not only adds to your credibility, it creates allies who are more likely to support your ideas later on.
I can vouch for what Carol is saying. I know that our San Francisco office impressed one of its big accounts with a fast response.
Involve others in your suggestions. Ask for feedback and input.
Well, Kurt, as our resident expert on these sales spreadsheets, what do you think of this plan?
Asking questions is one of the best ways to work the group. Then, when it comes time to offer your ideas, energize your delivery. That means using your body and voice to convince the group that you're confident, competent, and worth listening to. Follow these tips. Maintain a confident, erect posture without appearing rigid, which can be interpreted as nervousness or snobbishness. Gesture appropriately. Gestures and movements can help you feel and look more at ease, as well as generate group involvement and improve communication. Move your hands the way you would in normal conversation. Don't fidget, shuffle your notes, play with your clothing, or click your pen while you speak. That will distract the group. Speak clearly with a volume that's loud enough to be heard, and use inflections to create interest and avoid sounding monotonous. Use this trick. Pretend you're describing a favorite book or movie to your friend.
I was reading in a magazine yesterday about how to use templates. Here's what the article said. By training everyone to submit information in a common template, you can raise productivity by up to 35%.
Avoid weak phrases such as, maybe we should try, or I'm not sure.
Maybe we should try this with one group first, because I'm not sure everyone will get it.
Instead, use strong phrases such as, I recommend, or based on my experience, I suggest.
Well, based on my experience with the current situation, I recommend we get started now.
Finally, as you speak, react to the group's signals. Gauge the group's reaction and respond effectively. Here's what to look for and how to handle it. If people are nodding as you speak, that signals approval. Take advantage of these allies by calling on them to affirm your ideas.
Don't you think we could come up with something good, Carol?
Crossed arms signal disagreement or a closed attitude. Look the person in the eye and speak directly to him or her for a few seconds. Return eye contact several times as you speak. That will warm the person to your point of view. Fidgeting, doodling, and wandering eyes signal inattention. Draw the person into your discussion by asking a question or asking for his or her opinion.
Paul, you also work with spreadsheets. Do you think this template idea will work?
Well, we've tried that idea and it didn't work. We couldn't get everyone to use the new format. They just kept doing it the way they always did.
If your ideas meet resistance like that, use these techniques. Don't argue. Defend your ideas, but don't get into a shouting match with a respected member of the group. Your credibility and your idea will suffer. Turn to your allies. Create an opportunity for those who support your idea to voice their opinions.
Carol, how do you see this?
I would have to agree with you, Pam.
Offer to follow up. Provide whatever additional evidence or legwork the group needs to be convinced that your idea is a good one. Make sure the meeting leader puts the idea on the agenda for next time.
Well, since we have an issue about getting everyone to follow our lead, why don't I bring the article to the next meeting and I can share some of the thoughts that the author had about making templates work. Would that be okay, John?
Yes, that's a good idea.
Of course, not every idea you present will be adopted, and every suggestion you make won't bring praise. But the more comfortable you become with using the power technique, the more adept you'll become at expressing your ideas clearly and effectively in meetings. Now it's time for part 2, communicating effectively over the telephone. The way you conduct business over the phone can make a big difference in how other people perceive you and your organization. That's why it's so important that you express yourself well over the phone. When you make or take business calls, your goal is to get or give necessary information in an authoritative manner and in the least amount of time. These tips will help you. First, answer incoming calls promptly. Pick up the phone by the third ring. Be polite. Never treat a call as an interruption, even if it is. Second, sound professional and confident. Greet the person and identify yourself and your company.
Good morning, Jones and Company. John Westbrook speaking.
That way, there's no confusion about who the caller has reached. Next, plan outgoing calls before you make them. Jot down questions you need to ask or information you want to give. Have everything you need at hand, including files, documents, and your personal calendar for scheduling purposes. Don't damage your credibility by putting someone on hold while you rifle through your desk to get what you need. Get to the point quickly. Respect the other person's time by explaining the reason for the call right away.
Yes, I'm calling to discuss those updates we sent to you last week.
It's also important to be enthusiastic, to project an optimistic attitude in a warm, friendly voice. To make sure your enthusiasm shows in your voice, use body language. Even though the other person can't see you, he or she can hear what you're feeling. Project enthusiasm through body language, and your voice will reflect it. Sit up straight. Look up and smile as you speak. Stand up or walk around the room and gesture if that will help. Speak at a lively pace, but not too quickly. Avoid using ums and uhs. Be sure of what you want to say. Speak distinctly. Leave a clear separation between the endings and beginnings of words. Speak loudly enough so the other person can hear you without straining. Don't eat or drink anything, including gum or hard candy. When you speak with people on the telephone, simple courtesies enhance the person's trust and confidence in you. If you practice the following 4 rules, you'll be successful in any telephone encounter. Number 1, speak in positive terms. Tell the person what you can do instead of what you can't. Instead of "we can't deliver on Thursday," say,
We can get it to you first thing Friday morning, Tom. Does that work for you?
Number 2, deliver bad news with tact. When you need to give people information contrary to what they expect to hear, draw attention to the fact, then soften the blow. You do this by using a lead-in to alert the listener.
I'm sorry, Frank. We all thought your proposal would be accepted.
Then softening the bad news.
Your estimate was very close to our budget, and we definitely want you to submit again next year.
Number 3, talk, then listen. Phone calls should be conversations, not monologues. Make a statement, then ask a question to involve the other person. Give him or her a chance to speak.
I'm really interested in seeing how you could help us and how much it would cost.
Then show you're listening by interjecting periodic comments.
Okay. Yes, that makes a lot of sense.
Number 4, close courteously. It's polite and effective to end a business conversation with a request for questions.
Do you have any more questions about the specifics?
After you have satisfied your caller's request, ask if you can help with anything else. When you're positive that the call is complete, thank the person and say goodbye.
Well, thanks. Do you need anything else from me? Okay. Goodbye.
Wait until you hear a click on the other end of the line before you hang up. Hanging up on someone can nullify all the goodwill you've created during the conversation. Last but not least, when you call someone who's not available, you'll want to use voicemail effectively by leaving the kind of voicemail message that ensures a response. Here's how. First, keep it short. Respect the other person's time. Limit your message to 20 seconds or less.
This is John Westbrook from Jones and Company, 736-6655. It's 2:15 on Thursday, and I need some more information concerning the August media schedule. I would appreciate having the information before noon tomorrow, and I will be in all day today.
State your name, the time, and your phone number. Then, give a brief idea of why you called and set a time frame for callback. Finally, repeat your contact information. Restate your phone number at the end of the message. Include alternate numbers, such as your cell phone number if appropriate. As you've seen, Communicating with people over the phone or in a group presents special challenges. But you make the biggest impression, either good or bad, when you speak to people face-to-face and one-on-one. In Part 3, speaking with confidence, clarity, and charisma in face-to-face conversations, you'll see that the way you greet people, what questions you ask them, and how well you think on your feet all contribute to how well they listen to you and accept your ideas. Here are 5 ways to project confidence when you speak face-to-face. The first is to smile. Smiling makes you more believable, more persuasive, more approachable. It tells people that you're confident in what you're saying. That doesn't mean you walk around the workplace with a permanent smile plastered on your face. Nor is it appropriate when you have to deliver serious or bad news. But flashing a smile at the right times will add extra emphasis to your words. For example, smile when you meet someone for the first time. Smiling will help the person remember you and will forge a lasting, positive impression. Smile when you present an idea to your boss or anyone else. A smile shows your enthusiasm for your plan and your confidence in the outcome. Smile when you ask a staff member or a coworker to do something for you. That indicates that you consider the person an ally, not an underling, which will make the person much more willing to do what you ask. Smiling is also important when you talk to a customer or client. A smile creates a positive impression of your organization, which is probably your most important responsibility. And finally, if you smile when you pass coworkers and staff members in the workplace, it shows them that you enjoy working with them, which will make them more receptive to anything you have to say. The second way to project confidence when you speak face-to-face is to personalize what you say. People respond best to communication that is customized specifically for them. The better you tailor what you say to the person you're speaking to, the more effective your communication. An excellent way to personalize is to use the person's name.
You know, Paul, I could really use the benefit of your experience on this section of the report.
Use that fact to warm people up to your suggestions or to bridge the gap between you and a standoffish colleague. Another good way to personalize is to empathize. Show the people you speak with that you understand a little bit about how they feel or what their work is like. This technique is especially useful when you want to ask someone to do something or buy something.
I know that you're busy, but collecting this information is a priority.
The third way to project confidence and charisma is to ask, don't tell. That's because most people prefer that you ask them to take on an assignment or do something for you rather than being told to do it.
Paul, I know it's not part of your job description, but would you mind helping Pam update the supplier spreadsheet?
No, not at all.
The exception, of course, is during an emergency, when people want to be told what to do, not asked. However, the ask, don't tell principle does apply when someone asks your advice about a task. Instead of telling the person what to do, ask their opinion.
Well, I can see how that could be a problem. What do you think you should do, Jane?
That shows the person that you don't consider your opinion to be the final answer, and that you won't automatically take the problem off their hands. Ask, don't tell is also an effective teaching tool. When you're faced with a tough decision, ask staff members, what would you do? That shows them that you're interested in their opinions and signals that you want to help them build their decision-making skills. The fourth method of projecting confidence is to listen. You might ask, how can I speak with confidence, clarity, and charisma if I'm listening? Well, in face-to-face conversations, listening is one of your most effective communication tools. It helps you establish rapport with the person you're talking to. Uncover the person's motivations. Determine whether you're making your points. Spark new ideas and discussion topics. And after you've listened, clarify misunderstandings. Another time to listen is after you've made your point during a conversation. Ask the other person,
What do you think?
or,
How do you see it?
Then follow these listening guidelines. Resist the temptation to interrupt. Then prompt the person to continue.
It just seems like we haven't thought through all the details. The plan's more complicated than it makes it sound.
Go on.
That indicates your interest in the person and allows you to find out more about him or her. Then ask questions to determine the person's understanding of what you've said.
Aside from these details, is the strategy clear?
Finally, after you've listened and exchanged ideas, thank the person for his or her input.
Thanks, Paul. I appreciate your perspective.
The last confidence projecting skill is the ability to think on your feet. Suppose the boss asks you,
Pam, how would you evaluate our current training program?
here's a process to handle that. First, pick one idea that you want to stress. Focusing quickly on one thing will keep you from stammering and stumbling.
Well, I know a frequent complaint among the new employees is the lag time between when they're hired and when they get their formal training in specific computer skills.
Pam's one idea is lag time in training. Then, use the past, present, future formula to quickly organize your thoughts. Start by linking the idea to the past. This can be any length of time, from a few minutes to years ago.
Well, when I started here 5 years ago, I didn't get my formal training until 3 months after I started. I had to learn the system on my own and use old workbooks to help me.
Next, relate it to the present by bringing it up to date.
Well, the lag time is still a problem. I mean, the 2 new marketing assistants are struggling to learn the system while they wait for their formal training session.
Finally, project the problem into the future. Like the past, the future may be any length of time that suits the purpose.
Well, in the future, I think we could greatly increase productivity if new hires receive training right away, perhaps in their first 2 weeks on the job. If you'd like, I'll think more about the details and jot them down in a memo to you.
So you see, speaking with confidence, clarity, and charisma doesn't require some magical ability that some people have and others don't. It's really just a matter of applying some simple communication techniques. Now that you have those techniques at your command, it will be easier to exert your influence in the workplace. You will become more persuasive and compelling in all your communication, both in person and over the phone. For Briefings Publishing Group, I'm Alan Pratt.